last example of the kind of problem I want to remind you about how to do is whenever you divide by imaginary number. So this one has to be simplified because you cannot have an I in the denominator. And the reason why is because I is the square root of -1, and we don't leave radicals in the denominator of a fraction. So the way that we take care of this is by multiplying by the big one. And in this case, the big one is going to be something that will cancel out the I in the denominator. And that is going to be 5 minus 7I. And whatever I multiply times the bottom, I have to multiply that times the top because that is 1. And the numerator and the denominator are the same. So now, let's simplify this by multiplying out. -2 times 5 is -10. -2 times -7i is positive 14i. 5 times 5i is plus 25i. Positive 5i times -7i is negative 35i squared. And I know what I squared is, so I'm going to go ahead and take care of that. I squared is -1, which just turns this into positive 35. So if I went ahead and simplified the numerator, I can put my like terms together. -10, positive 35 is 25. And positive 14i and positive 29i is positive 39i. All right, let's look at the denominator. 5 times 5 is 25. 5 times -7i is negative 35i. 7 times 5i is plus 35i. Positive 7i times -7i is negative 49i squared. And we know that I squared is -1, so that turns that into plus 49. So 25 and 49 is 74. Positive 35 and negative 35i, they cancel each other out. And that's the reason that I multiply by the conjugate, so that I would get a sum of squares, and then I could add those together. Now, as I look at this, I always want to check and see if this will reduce. Is there a factor that's the same in the numerator as the denominator? And there isn't. So this one is simplified. If, for instance, this problem ended up as like 25 plus 15i over 10, then I could say, yes, these do have a common factor. I could factor a 5 out of the top and factor a 5 out of the bottom, cancel the 5s. So my answer would be 5 plus 3 over 2. But this one, there is no common factor amongst these, so I can't reduce. If it reduced, there would have to be a common factor amongst all three of these numbers, and that's not the problem we have.